Hi felters and welcome, my name is Philippa. In today's video we are going to talk needle toppers. It's the question I've been asked the most in the past 4 weeks, plus the elusive 34 and 44 needle numbers. Where did they go? I think one of my subscribers has worked it out. So I'm currently working on this course from Danny Ives, which is a 2D fox, and this is just to show you the needles that I have here. So I have been using, and people have been asking me all the time, what is this that you're using? This is just Fimo clay, which I shape, mold to my hand, and then cook for the time that is on the instructions for whatever clay you buy. Mine is, I do them for a really low temperature for a really long time. And then I just find them really easy to hold. If you're holding a needle for a long length of time, it can get quite painful. Before I sort of came up with this method, I used to just put a little bit of tape around the top. It's really simple, really easy, and you can get tape in different colours. Sometimes people have actually felted some wool together and sort of put the needle inside it, so it's a lot softer to hold. I do like the idea of that one. I think I've tried it and it didn't stay on the needle suitably for me. And another thing you can do is you can just put a big rubber band around it. Also, if you wanted two needles together, you can put a rubber band around two, and then you can felt double the speed. And now I do have a multi-needle tool video which goes through multi-needle tool holders, so do check that out. But just to show you, I have done these according to the correct colour of the needles. Now obviously when the needles break, you can't take them out, you can't resuscitate the Fimo clay, so it's wasteful from that point of view, but I really find my needles don't break that often, and I'm really pleased with the comfort that these give because they are shaped to your fingers. So just going to take a little bit of clay. This is a light blue. Luckily I have a light blue bit of Fimo clay. Let's just make it a little bit smaller. Now I would give it a little roll out because I want it to be quite chunky, but not too chunky. My light blue broke, so I did have to replace it. So just push it up inside. You want it about in the middle. You're not going to want it to be, it's not going to come out, so that's good. Just taper it a bit around there. Just a little bit longer, and then I just hold it where my fingers are going to be, just lightly. You don't have to press it too much, and it just gives you a slight indent there, which works well, and a nice curve, and that is how I'm going to cook it. So I will cook that, and then I will have it in that colour, so I know what needle that is. One other thing, storing your needles, which is something I also get asked a lot. If you are storing them in, I have a Heidi Feathers wool mat. If you're storing your needles in a wool mat, there's lanolin within this wool, so they won't go rusty, and I normally just keep them all in the top corner. But the other thing I sort of did a while ago was, and again, one of my subscribers was lovely and she called it a little needle bus stop. So I thought that was quite cute. So this is just some wool inside a little glass jar, and then you store them all in there and they don't go rusty. So this is the tape I used to have on things, and it worked well for a long time. And you know, if it breaks, it's not too expensive at all. But yeah, this is just a little way to keep your needles if you don't want them with you all the time. And I do know that people store their needles in corks as well. That works quite well. So there we go. I hope that's answered a few questions there. So that's needle toppers. I hope that was useful on how to store your needles. Now let's move on to, has anyone ever considered, why are there no 34 and 44 needles? Now, let's just take it back a tiny little bit to where needle felting came from. Obviously, wet felting has been around for centuries, and it was used years and years and years ago for bedding, for mattresses, for clothing, for all sorts of things. Now, if we fast forward, industrial machines came in, and they were in the 1950s, and I have a book here, I'll show you in a sec. And they were used for industrial machines in order to create large amounts of felt. So needles have been around for a fair while, probably a lot longer than that. So fast forward to the 1980s, and this is where dry needle felting we believe came from. The book I have is called Felting. I just got this recently by Lynn Huggins Cooper. So in the 1980s, Eleanor Stanwood, and this is what I believe to be true, I've read this before, she was a fibre artist. She bought a sampling machine, a small needle felting machine used industrially to create samples for the big sort of felted areas. Her husband David removed a needle from the machine, and in true artisan style he played with it to see what he could do. He used it to compress wool fibres to make sculpted shapes. So basically they took one of the needles off the big machine and started to use it individually and see what would happen and see if they could create sculptures, and they could. A friend called, now I don't know how to pronounce this, Aila Talpai was visiting, and the group made Chinese ornaments using this new technique. Talpai developed and refined the technique and became a founding mother of needle felting. She wrote the book, The Felting Needle from Factory to Fantasy, and the rest is history. So I'm really keen to get that book and have a look at it. So that's how needle felting that we know started, really recent. I do think it is gathering in pace. However, there's no 34 and 44 needles. Now, one of my subscribers, and I'm going to have to read it off, and it's Zane, beautiful soul, so thank you so much. She said, are felting needles invented by the Chinese? If they are, then 4 means death and 3 means life. So 44 is double death. So that's terrible, especially for a needle. And 34 is life and death, which I guess you can't mix life and death together because it wouldn't be good. Honestly, I have had no other explanation, and if needles were invented by the Chinese, if anyone knows, I think that is a really plausible, because I thought it has to be some sort of superstition for those 2 needles to have been left out. So it's the 34 and the 44. So 4 means death and 3 means life, and you can't mix them together and you can't have double death. What do you think? Let me know. So if you want to learn a little bit more about specialist needles, this video here is absolutely fantastic. Click on it and I'll meet you over there. My next video coming up is the real truth about what it's like to run your own business. So subscribe if you'd like to see that one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.